OK, well, it wasn't quite what I was introducing there, but nevertheless, we'll get through all of these various points. I mean, Simon Hughes there, in fact, right throughout Question Time, was making the point that their policies have been nicked ad infinitum.
Well, he accuses the Labour Party and the Conservatives of being on the same side, and I think I can speak for Derek here that we are on the same side when we think the Liberal Democrats are becoming irrelevant. A new opinion poll out tonight puts them on 11%. It's the third opinion poll in a row. What the Labour Party is doing is attracting back the voters that left them because they didn't like Tony Blair. They're going back to the Labour Party from the Liberal Democrats, and David Cameron's attracted them out the other side. So they're in a really clever stick now.
And yet JG from Kent says, who can we vote for when they are nicking each other's ideas?
Well, you see, you can't win because if you go down a street and you knock on one door and people say, well, you're all the same, why should we vote for any of you? And then you go to the next door and people say, can't you all agree? So, I mean, politicians are in a real clever stick here because they can't please all of the people all of the time. Most people want clear blue water between the parties, I certainly do. So they've actually got a real choice to vote for.
Also, don't forget, the Conservative Party, the real Conservative policy, which we heard in the commissions, Michael Forsyth, £21 billion of spending cuts, and John Redwood, £14 billion of spending cuts. That's the instinct, the inner heart
of public spending.
The inner heart of the Conservative Party. And the question people have to ask is, you know, underneath this flash stuff of the last couple of weeks, is it going to be their school, is it going to be their hospital that gets cut if they cut £21 billion from public spending?
See, this is the politics of fear that surely we should be trying to get away from.
Because it's to be frightened.
Public spending now is £600 billion in this country. Are you really telling me that we can't find 3 or 4% of efficiency savings in that £600 billion? We should be arguing for lower taxes. The Conservative Party should be arguing for that.
Right, but you see, Iain, this is what you never understand, you Conservatives. Lower taxes, by definition, means less spending.
No, it doesn't, because
lower taxes
actually brings in more money.
Lower taxes brings in more money.
Look at Ireland. They've slashed their taxes, income tax, corporation tax.
Conservative Party.
Absolutely, I am the real Conservative Party.
Spending cuts,
no, you have more public spending.
Bust.
You have more public spending because you have a higher tax take if you cut taxes, because it incentivises people, it encourages more businesses, it encourages enterprise.
They have not learned their lesson.
Let's just go back to Gordon Brown and, well, the fact that, first of all, to the opposition, John from Nottingham says, for the first time in 10 years, we may well have an opposition party. Well done, Dave.
Well, well done, your emailer.
Derek?
Well, you know, I think the truth is that we all knew that David Cameron would give a polished performance in Blackpool. He is a PR man, you know. And,
yeah, but hang on, he's brought the polls, he's brought the two parties together in the polls-ish.
Absolutely. The question is, does David Cameron have substance? Does he have strength? Does he have the real? Does he have real character?
You have to say
it was your party saying the polls started moving because of the inheritance tax announcement, not because of the speech.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think well, it's, you know, it's a clever. Is he smooth? Yes. Can they come up with a couple of eye-catching ideas? Yes. Are people going to trust them to run the economy? To be in charge of their mortgages and their credit card bills.
These were the things that I used to say in 1996 to you about New Labour.
Yeah. Okay,
well,
look,
we'd had Black Wednesday, you see, and the difference is the Conservative Party had lost all its credibility. Well, Gordon Brown,
right, well,
you slag off Gordon Brown, but he has delivered growth, growth in this country.
All right, well, let's not go down that road again. Let's just go back to one of the clips from Question Time, the one I was mentioning before, which we didn't see, about unity. In other words, this was the question as to whether Gordon Brown's actually achieved more Conservative unity than David Cameron has. Let's have a listen to what happened.
He had a series of what I thought were major clangers. I wondered whether actually he was a Tory at all. It was hug a hoodie, whereas most of us would like to strangle them. He was oh, is there somebody who doesn't want to out there? He flip-flopped on grammar schools, whereas most of us think, actually, the people that they produce out of grammar schools are probably going to be all our leaders, etc. There's a whole load of reasons why I had a significant question mark about it. But I have put aside, I have joined your party, which is, I have put aside my question mark over Cameron, or major question mark, because I admire Osborne and the fact that he went back to Tory values, which is actually you spend your money in a better way than we can.
Well, it's back to the taxes.
Well, of course, but you see Kelvin there sneering. You know, your money. He thinks he's spending your money. Kelvin has got no conception at all,
right.
and you're just a slightly more smooth version of Kelvin Mackenzie, because what he's spending this money on. Let's remember this, right? What Gordon Brown is spending this money on, the money that we give in our taxes, right, are £100 billion for the health service. Increased spending in schools. Hang on, let me finish the list.
Which is killing people.
Hold on, let me finish
Maidstone
the
report
list.
today.
Let me finish the list. Money on overseas aid, huge increase, right?
Which the Conservatives have agreed to match.
On anti-terrorist.
All right, Dot from Lincolnshire says...
which of those is going to be cut by Kelvin Mackenzie and Ian Dell's tax-cutting, spending-cutting Conservatives?
Because George Osborne has said he's going to match Labour spending.
Come on.
By magic,
Derek,
abracadabra.
Viewers' points. We must stick to viewers' points. Dot from Lincolnshire says, why should this is inheritance tax we're back on, why should my son pay tax on everything I have already paid tax on? Crazy idea.
Well, I think that Labour's inheritance tax policy is better. Right? I think it's... I think it's fairer, right? I think what you'll find is that the Conservatives have gone a little bit too far. I think that 600,000 basically protects almost everybody, apart from, literally, millionaires. Now, I think that what's happened is that Gordon Brown's quite cleverly come in and said, if you're worried about your house, we'll protect your house, but if you've got a load of money in the bank as well, maybe you should pay a fair cut of it.
It's a complete sleight of hand what he's done, because all he's done is add together the two individual allowances of 300,000. So if you've got an accountant, you could already get round it. All he's done is saying, well, if you haven't got an accountant, we'll help you get round it.
Do you support the $4 million?
Absolutely. Right. I would abolish it. In 2004, I was arguing with George Osborne at the Tory party conference to promise to abolish it completely, because I think it is a tax on death.
You two carry on arguing very quietly while I just introduce the next clip. This week, a cross-party European Scrutiny Committee said they've actually stopped talking for a minute. Said the EU treaty was substantially equivalent to the EU constitution. So it was asked, should Labour honour its pledge to hold a referendum if it is to be trusted by the public? The Conservative chairman, Caroline Spellman, thought so.
This document is substantially equivalent, their words, to the Constitution. Of course we should have an EU referendum on that. That's what the country was promised in 2005, and that is what the country deserves.
I think what we need to do is look at the bigger picture here. I actually think we need to properly have a debate about Europe and our place in it now. Because, I mean, if we are realistic, in the future, the big decisions on this planet are going to be made by the presidents of the US, China, and the Prime Minister of India, and maybe the President of Russia. And the idea that us, little England, can play a semi-detached role on the world stage, aside from the EU, and have any influence at all, is an absolute joke.
And OK, Dominic from Northampton, I don't want a referendum because I'm pro-Europe and I think I'm in the minority.
Yeah, well, the logic is there, isn't it?
You see, this is another great example of, I call it the tip of the iceberg Tories, right? You know, you see the little bit that they're making public. They've got the guts to make public on cuts and on Europe. They're not really interested in referendums and all this. What they want is out of Europe. Now, the damage that would do to our economy, to jobs and to living standards would be massive.
OK, well, Ian, DG from Teddington says the Tory party is still on the edge. Don't mention Europe.
I'm quite happy to mention Europe. I
mean,
we were promised a referendum on the Constitution. Not just this Labour-dominated committee says it's substantially the same. The people that drafted it say it's substantially the same. Valérie Giscard d'Estaing, Gisela Stewart, a Labour MP, says that as well. She was on the committee. We were promised this referendum. David Cameron's right to push it, and he should campaign for a no vote.
On out of Europe.
That's what you're a referendum on the European Constitution, which your party wants to sign.
Labour promised us a referendum. I voted for that reason alone. I feel conned.
Well, what Gordon Brown said is, if he can protect Britain's interests,
which he won't be able to,
then it's all OK, and if he can't, there'll be a referendum. That's pretty fair. My point is, it's not really about this treaty. Who's going to remember this treaty?
It's about this treaty.
It's about you guys wanting out of Europe.
We're signing away more powers to an unelected, bureaucratic Brussels Commission.
Time's up. Last word to Mick from Devon. It's obvious they know what the outcome of a referendum would be. Thank you very much indeed, gentlemen, tonight. Thank you very much. Let's get a weather forecast with Liam Dutton. Liam.
However, that cloud always thick enough to produce the odd spot.